Hey everyone, this is Barbara C Phillips, founder of Nurse Practitioner Business Owner and the Clinician Business Institute. And I wanted to take some time today to talk about some issues that I've seen come up with cash flow and billing issues. So, what's been happening recently is that I have been hearing and consulting with nurse practitioners, particularly over the last couple of months, who have run into problems with their billing. And it's pretty much put a stop in their practice growth. And in at least one case, a practice has had to close. And so many of these issues are avoidable if we know what to do. And one of the biggest problems that I see is with business, is with billing. It's with billing. And so, when you stop and you think about it, as healthcare providers, our prime directive is to take care of our patients, to do an excellent job providing healthcare to our patients. Now, as a business owner, we've got to do that thing that they talk about on planes, and that's put our own oxygen on first before we provide that excellent care. Because here's the deal. If you are not taking care of business first, then you may not have a business that can provide the services that you provide and to give that excellent health care that is so important to us. So again, what does this have to do with billing? Well, billing is often the last thing that we really want to think about. Yes, we want the money coming into our practice, but do we want to spend our time billing? No, it's a big headache. It's a hassle. It takes a lot of time. It takes us away from our patients. And so we look to either bring a biller in-house, hire somebody, bring them on staff, put them in an office, close the door, and let them do the billing, or we hire a billing company that we can outsource our billing to, right? And we feel so relieved once we've done that because now we can focus on taking care of the patient and giving that excellent care that we give. Well, that's wrong. It's just dead wrong. And again, it goes back to what I've been saying for years now, and that is that nobody, and I do mean nobody, cares about your business and your money the way that you do. And there are so many things that can go wrong with billing in our practices. And let me talk about those now because they're so vital to how we run our businesses. So let's start with the biller. And when I say biller, it can also be billing company, but I'm just going to say biller just to kind of keep it a little bit concise here. So the first thing that can often happen is credentialing. And even though we're not talking about credentialing per se, I know that there are many billing companies that offer credentialing services. And I also know that there are individuals that offer credentialing services. And I know there have been way too many nurse practitioners that have come to me and have said, I need help. I've spent thousands of dollars and my credentialing's not done, or it's been done incorrectly, or I've been waiting 6, 8, 12 months, which in most cases is way too long to wait for billing and credentialing to go through. So I bring that up because that may be the number one issue. So can you bill without credentialing? Well, yes, you can. In some cases, that would be billing out of network, but you're going to get less money from the third-party payer. And your patients are going to have to pay more out of pocket. And so most people don't want the hassle of doing that. They would just rather be credentialed. So what about your biller? Well, what can happen with your biller is that perhaps you have a biller who or a billing company, they've promised you the moon. We can do X, Y, and Z for you. You won't have to worry about anything. No, we're going to take good care of you. And what sometimes happens is that biller or billing company become overwhelmed because maybe they were newer or maybe not, but maybe their business grew and they got some really big accounts. And then all of a sudden, here is your small practice. and they don't have enough people to even keep up with the bigger company, and you kind of fall off the wayside. That's happened to me. I know it's happened to other people. And so that may be part of it. Or occasionally somebody's lazy. They don't really care. I've heard stories of people, more in-house billers, who have, they wanted to go home at 5 o'clock and they still had all these bills and they're just getting too many claims to have to deal with. And they end up in drawers. They end up, buried under something else. Not so much with electronic anymore, but certainly in the past things, and this can also happen at the other end of the spectrum before the billing even goes out. Those EOBs don't get processed. The ERAs don't get processed. So you have people that they're lazy and they don't really care about the level of work they're doing. Now, it is possible that you have a new biller, brand new, just finished billing school, which may have just been an online course, which there's nothing wrong with online courses, but how much practice did they actually get? How much supervision did they actually get? So you may have somebody who's brand new, they're wet behind the ears, and they just don't have the knowledge or experience to deal with some of the issues that come up. We all know that you can go and you can learn something. However, have you ever met a patient who responds exactly like it is in a textbook? No, our patients don't read textbooks. Billers, they may have read a textbook, but the insurance company didn't read the same textbook. So you're going to have problems that come up. So they just may not have the knowledge or experience. That's not necessarily a bad thing, but they just may need some guidance. You also have people who are rogue billers. What do I mean by rogue billers? Well, these are the billers who are going to get you into trouble. So some, because many of them, particularly outsourcing, they are independent businesses, just like you're a business owner, and they may upcode, because billers tend to get paid based on the amount of money that you get reimbursed. And I actually had a certified biller talk to me about this, for billers that are out there that are upcoding your charts. You may also have billers who downcode your charts. If you're a practice and right now you're seeing a lot of high-level patients because of the work you do, and quite frankly, a lot of primary care is, I never saw a 99213, or rarely saw a 99213 in my own primary care practice. But so you have a lot of 99214s, you may have a lot of 99215s. And so that biller may feel a little uncomfortable billing that out, and maybe you didn't really mean that, so they'll downcode your billing so that you don't get into trouble. And both ways are wrong. A biller or a coder should never, ever be changing your codes on your charts, whether they be ICD-10 codes, whether they be CPT codes. They should never be doing that without first talking with you and getting your approval. Because every single bill that goes out, every single claim, it has your name on it. And if there's a problem, guess who's going to be responsible? You are. So you don't want somebody just randomly making choices on your behalf when it comes to billing. The other thing that I would say here is that you are not paying attention. You're not paying attention to what they're doing. And that goes back to this. We just really want it off our plate, and we've hired somebody to do it. And can't they just do it for us? Yes, they can. And you may have somebody in your employ or company that you're doing business with, and they're doing excellent work. But you still have to pay attention, because again, they're not going to care as much as you do. So you've got to pay attention. So what else can happen? What can happen on your end of all of this? Well, that goes back to what I was just saying, thinking that the biller or company, will take care of everything and that you don't have to worry about it. Well, that's really wrong thinking from every way you look at it. You can't just close your eyes, put your head in the sand, and believe that everything is going to be okay. Your practice does not have the correct policies and procedures in place. So you should not only have policies and procedures for financial reasons for your own practice, but you also have to have them that you share with your patients so your patients know what to expect. Your staff, do they understand what they need to be doing? And this goes right into the front desk. It is crucial that your front desk be getting the correct information up front when that patient first calls to make an appointment with you and every single time that they come in. We've all heard of garbage in, garbage out. Well, if the information being collected and being put into your system is not correct, everything else breaks down right there. And quite frankly, people in my experience have come into the office and someone will say, is everything still current? Yeah, no changes, no problems. And then you start collecting their cards. Oh yeah, I did move 6 months ago, or oh yeah, I did change jobs. I was amazed at how many people changed jobs, moved, got new insurances in a short span. So it happens, and it is up to you to make sure that you have the correct information. Your front desk, whether that be you or someone else, needs to be collecting deductibles, copays, and coinsurance at the time of the visit. So what we're starting to find out and what is expected to be seen in the next few years is that those patients coming into your office, approximately 50% of the cost to come in and see you is going to come out of pocket. That's a huge amount of money for you to lose. And so you need to make sure that you're collecting that money at the time of visit. It is costly to be billing for copays, coinsurances, and deductibles, and it also reduces your chance of collecting that money significantly if you're not collecting them at the time of service. So again, paying attention to your biller, understanding and paying attention to the billing reports. Do you know really what's going on in with these claims? Do you understand what it means to have a rejected claim, a denied claim? Do you understand about your AR? Do you understand what it takes to follow up on these claims? With your AR, a lot of people don't always understand that. And AR means accounts receivable. And that's usually broken up into different buckets. So a 30, 60, 90, 120 plus day buckets. And ARs, or accounts receivable, that is money that is owed you for work that you've already done. And you should be collecting on that money. So why aren't you? How much of it is due to third-party payers? How much of it is due to patients? And where is the holdup in that money coming to your practice? It's really crucial that you are getting money as soon as possible. The longer it goes out on the AR, then the less likely it is that you're going to get reimbursed. So you want to make sure that at the end of your AR, you don't really want a whole lot in that 90 and 120 day bucket. Your 30 days should be your highest, and you should start seeing that come down significantly by 60 days and dropping off dramatically by 90 and 120 days. One of the things that you also really need to understand is timely filing. And is the biller getting that information out in a timely manner? And what are the limitations on your insurance companies? Medicare may allow you to file for up to a year later after you've seen the client or the patient, but what about Blue Cross Blue Shield? What about United, Cigna, Aetna? Chances are they're not going to give you a year. They may give you 60 days. Some of them may even only give you 30 days. Because they want to get that stuff cleared through their system. So you need to understand that as well. And does your biller understand that? So there's a lot of different things that can certainly happen with all of this. And it's really important for you to figure out what it is you need to do. So take a look at your practice now. What policies and procedures do you have in place, both for your practice and those that affect your patient? Because the patient should be getting a copy, signing and getting a copy of the financial policies and procedures so that they understand their obligations. Make sure that your front desk is getting the correct information and that they're getting it each and every time that person comes in, and that also they're comfortable in collecting the money that is owed to the practice. And in regards to that front desk, in regards to the policies and procedures, you also want checks and balances for money that comes through your practice to make sure that it is getting to your bank and being deposited appropriately. And one of the things that I always highly recommend is that when the bank or the third-party payer offers you a direct deposit, take it, because that's less money that has to go through less hands. You want regular communication in your office, not only with your front desk, but also with whoever is doing your billing. You want at least a weekly communication of which claims are being rejected, which ones are being denied, what are some of the reasons that they're being denied and rejected. Are these things that you can fix on your end? Is it a documentation issue? Is it a coding issue? Is it that you have the wrong information? You want to know that ahead of time. And of course, in that regular communication, you also want to be looking at your accounts receivable, and you want those reports no more than a month, but I would say even more often than that. You want to keep your thumb on what is happening with the money in your practice. You don't want to be hemorrhaging money. You don't want to have your practice, to continue on with that metaphor, you don't want your practice so dehydrated that there's no money coming in and the practice dies. The other thing that I'm seeing happen, and I've heard this from a couple of different NPs, they've never seen their insurance contracts. I'm not quite sure how that happens because you do need to sign them. But if you do not have copies of your insurance contracts, you need to get them. And the other thing that I would say too is you need to have access to those EOBs and ERAs. The EOBs, by the way, being explanation of benefits, ERAs being electronic remittance advice. You want to see those because you want to be looking at, hey, I'm seeing a pattern here. What's going on? Hopefully your communication with your biller and your weekly sit down, you should be getting some of that information. But if not, you still want to have access to those things. So one of the most important things that you can possibly do for yourself is to educate yourself. And I can't stress that enough. If you don't understand this billing process and what it takes to generate revenue in your practice, then you're going to miss out big time. So just seeing our patients is not enough. We have this whole other end, and it doesn't matter whether you are self-employed or you're employed by somebody else. If you don't understand how to document, if you don't understand how to code your charts, and you're not keeping up to date with changes in reimbursement and policies and the codes, because codes change on an annual basis, then you're doing yourself and your practice a disservice. So if you need help with evaluation and management, with how to do your documentation in order to support the level of service that you're providing, I highly recommend EM University. I've recommended them for years. I've gone through their training. It is excellent. It's EM University is owned by a physician who happens to be a certified coder. So what I like is that this physician understands what we need to do with documentation, and we're not getting a lot of esoteric stuff we don't really need. It's just, this is what you need in order to show that, to support the level of service. So I highly recommend them. The other thing that I would really recommend, because I don't know that anything out there is like this, and that is our own billing course. So in our billing course that I created earlier this year, actually, I do have some documentation and coding in there just because it's necessary, but the whole focus really is getting your practice ready to bill, making sure that you have those policies and procedures, and then what do you do? How do you do the billing? Where do you start with all of that? And then what do you do when you get those EOBs and ERAs, and how do you read them, and how do you make sure that you're staying on top of that? So I highly recommend that. I will put a link below the video so that you'll be able to see that as well. And then we also have a credentialing course, again, because so many nurse practitioners have come to me with problems and they've spent thousands of dollars with somebody to do their credentialing and it didn't get done. This is a fast, easy way to do your credentialing, and you can literally save yourself thousands of dollars, and I kid you not on that. So I'll have links below this video for that as well. So I hope this has been really helpful to you, to give you an idea of what to look for when you're looking at billing. And I will, you've seen now on the screen in front of you our websites, and also where you can connect with me at on Facebook, because that's the social platform you'll find me most often. But our website, npbusiness.org, that's our blog. We've been publishing that for over 10 years now, or actually over 11 years now. So you'll be able to find all kinds of information there, which is where we'll post this main video. But also visit us at Clinician Business Institute. That's where we've started putting all of our education and all of our resources. If you need coaching or consulting, if you need to find the courses that we've just talked about, you'll find them at Clinician Business Institute. And again, feel free to connect with me, send me a friend request. Let me know you're a nurse practitioner, please, or a healthcare provider. Send me a friend request on Facebook, and we can communicate there as well. And perhaps you'd like to join our group over there. So again, I hope this has been helpful, and I look forward to questions and comments and feedback below this video. So have a great day and take care now. Bye-bye.